This is a great turnout. We're very pleased that you're here. Welcome to everyone online that's watching. This is our second library event for the Jenks American Museum and Historical Society. We plan these every month. Next month we plan to have the history of Rennie Grove. We have a local Jenks High School graduate that went to kindergarten in Rennie Grove that's going to do our presentation, John Green. Rennie Grove was over at 91st and Harvard, between Harvard and Sheridan, and it went from 91st up to 81st. It was a freedmen community, the Creek Nation freedmen. One of the big things we had happen this month, for we call it the JAM, Jenks American Museum, is we're now officially by the IRS a 501c3 corporation. So all of your donations are tax deductible. If you would like to make a donation, there's a donation basket here in the back. Dig deep, we need a lot of money. If you would like later to go on the website, JenksAmericanMuseum.org, there is a donation form and where to donate there. Eventually we'll have a button on there that you can use electronic means to donate if you wish. So, if there's no further announcements, which I'm not going to let anybody make any announcements at this point, but if you'd like, after the presentation, there will be a 15-minute question and answer. These guys have so many stories, and we will have Larry Wasson. He's a little late, but he'll be here.
I will.
We've got more stories than we can do in an hour, but I think you're going to enjoy all this. My name's Wayne Parker, by the way. I'm a board member of the JAM. 1966 high school graduate. My wife is back here in the back. Linda, big help to us. She did our grant. We're going to start a strategic plan. We have a consultant. We had a $5,000 grant from the Oklahoma Historical Society. We'll start planning with our strategic plan in May. Linda's classmates, Lynn Mayo and Marcia Chastain, are doing our welcoming table this morning. So, our first, Becky and I are doing the interviews along with Ed Phillips. Ed's a committee member. Becky Bolton, lifer, one of the oldest families in Jenks, and where did you graduate high school, Becky? Oh, Jenks American. Ed graduated in 1956, along with Mr. Newland. So, Becky, is it your turn or mine?
It is. It's mine. So, we have questions that we're going to ask you, and there's no wrong answer, you know, and you can always plead the fifth if you don't want to answer the question. You've got it handy. They've given me this job because I'm boss, and I have an eye watch. So I'm going to keep us on schedule, and don't take that personally if I interrupt you. We need to move on to the next question. We're going to try to get it all done. And, I mean, this is like old home week. You know, I mean, there's a bajillion people here that could sit right here, and you all have to sign up to do that. We want to hear your stories too. So that's going to be exciting.
Stories on you?
What? Yeah, the stories on me. Yeah. I'll take the fifth. The first question. Have you now, or at any time in the past, actually swam in the Arkansas River? No?
No way.
Has anyone here swam in the Arkansas River? Oh!
I knew it.
Been fishing?
Greg.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear that? He said raw sewage dumped into the river. That's why we all didn't swim, huh? Yeah. Okay, how about, did anybody skinny dip in the river? No? No? Okay. Remember now, whatever is said at the library stays at the library. Okay? Okay, first I'd like to introduce, which he's already introduced, Ed Phillips. Ed Phillips is an active member of our jam and doing a lot of work here for this event and all the other things. I mean, he's just really doing a lot. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Go ahead and get this started here. We're sharing Jenks memories and history instead of music. It's called a second jam. So you're gonna find it's very interesting for the interviews go through here. I want to introduce, first of all, JD was my classmate in 1956. We had 45 seniors graduate. Compare that with hundreds of seniors this year, for sure. JD was class president in 1956 and has continued to help lead several class reunions over the years. Our last informal reunion at 68 years was last summer with few remaining class members. Since I've known JD, he has been a very positive person from a personal and a professional standpoint. For example, JD has been a key person in the development, management, and growth of the excellent Jenks school system, teaching and later as director of buildings and grounds for several years. It has been a very positive effect for thousands of Jenks students and quite an achievement in history to share with you today, along with other Jenks members. Please provide a warm welcome to guests and longtime Jenks President, J.D. Newland. And now we'll start with the 3 quick questions. First of all, what were your parents' names and were they born in Jenks?
My dad was James DeWitt Newland Sr. I'm junior, of course. And my mom was Zilpha, Z-I-L-P-H-A, and Griffin Newland. Dad went as far as the 8th grade, and he lived here in Jenks. And mom lived in the Locust Grove area.
Okay. Second question, were you born and when? What year?
1938.
If you don't mind.
I was born January 25th, 1938, in Hog Shooter Holler, with the help of midwife, and that's close to Iron Post, which we moved from Hog Shooter Holler to Iron Post in about 3 years. So I was about 5 when I was at Iron Post, and my birth certificate says Locust Grove because that's the closest town.
Wow.
And so then we moved to Jenks in 1943, across the river where Burgundy Place is at the present time. And our neighbors to the west was Molly and Oscar Sweetser, who had 3 lovely girls that graduated from Jenks School, Donna, Jane, Joanne, and Patsy.
Yep.
Some of you may remember those kids. And
Yeah.
Oscar and Molly went ahead and developed the Molly Coffee Shop right west of the school, and then did the Jenks Restaurant.
Yeah.
That was her building, and it's still standing there today.
I think you've already answered the third question there,
Good.
before you live there in Jenks, that type of thing. Thanks a lot, J.D. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's my pleasure to introduce my friend and Linda's friend and Jay Creekmore, who's lived here all his life up to this point. He graduated from Jenks High School. Jay, when were you born?
July 25th, 1932.
And where were you born?
Pumpkin Center, Oklahoma.
And where is Pumpkin Center?
91st and Memorial.
Okay.
I mean, 101st and Memorial.
101st and Memorial. Do you know why it was called Pumpkin Center?
No, I do not.
Sometime we need to find that out. Why was it called Pumpkin Center?
It's not a good lot of pumpkin.
Who were your parents?
My father was M.C. Creekmore, E-M-Z-Y. My mother was Frances Creekmore.
And where did they come from to Jenks? And about when?
They both came from Arkansas. My mother originally come from Alabama, and my dad folks come from Kentucky.
And about what year, do you know?
I don't know, back in the 1800s.
In the 1800s? Okay.
When they migrated into Arkansas, then they moved into the motor road, Sallisaw, and migrated up to Bixby, and then Jenks.
Where, you were born in Pumpkin Center. Were you close to your mom when you were born? Very close. Were you born in a hospital?
No,
You were not born in a hospital. Now, where did, your dad was a farmer?
Sheriff Crocker.
Sheriff Cropper. And where did he farm?
Well, we farmed there, we had a farm there on the Morrill, and then we moved to the west side. That 1940, we moved over on 33rd West Avenue.
And what, 81st, was it?
Between 71st and 81st on 33rd West Avenue.
And tell us a little bit about your house.
We had a two-story house. It was an old two-story house. And I had three sisters and no brothers. My three sisters, they lived upstairs, and I was downstairs. And my bedroom was where they had a shelf in the bedroom back there, where they put the butter and the milk and all that. And a lot of mornings you get up, there was ice on the milk in my bedroom.
Didn't she have central heat and air?
No. We heated with wood and we cooked with wood.
What about electricity?
No electricity, no gas, no phone, no nothing.
No utilities at all?
No utilities, nothing.
There's a true pioneer. JD, did you have electric in your house when you lived up in Burgundy?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We had kerosene lamps too, because electric was not that great.
Okay. So you were kind of a modernized person.
Compared to where I've been, yes.
What was it like where you'd been?
Well, in the Locust Grove, everyone's been around Locust Grove, that's nothing but plant rocks and Tex and sugar. But, it's, where we moved from here, now it's low sand and red clay. So the soil is quite different. But at the same time, those flint rocks would grow gardens that you wouldn't believe. I still don't to this day know how carrots come up in those flint rocks, but
What did your parents do?
my mom was a rosy riveter, during the war, and what we call it. And Dad was a farmer, and he also worked in the powder plant in Power. And after he had to go to the military, because they said what you're doing is just as important as being on the front line, because he was making bullets and powder and gunpowder and all that stuff. And they come from, my folks and Dad, all of them come from Pocahontas, Tennessee, and Becky, when they moved to Jenks, back in the 1800s.
Okay. And when you were growing up, JD, what did you do here in Jenks?
Well,
In early elementary up through high school, can you kind of tell us what you did?
there wasn't a whole lot in our community to do. We rode, we started out with, I started out with roller skates. But we started out with roller skates, and then we progressed to bicycles, and we rode our bicycles all around Jenks public school, sidewalks that were rough, a lot of them were smooth. Then after we did that, we progressed to the 41 Ford automobile, and then we slid around the corners and several bikes in our cars. And that's pretty much what we did. We went skinny dipping in Underwood's Pond. I think Frank Carroll, that's one of the things he wanted to do, was let the kids learn how to swim in a swimming pool. But it didn't work out because the parents fussed about the girls getting their hair wet. So we still have 2 fine aquatic pools because of it.
So remind us where Underwood's.
Underwood's, it's at 111, right off of Elm and Hay Meadow. You ride your bike out there, you get all hot, you jump in, and it was muddy. But it did have a spring in it, so it was cool. But by the time you got back to Jenks, you was hotter and dirtier than you was when you went in. So that's where the skinny dipping come in, because if you went in your underwear, you couldn't wear it again. Because of the dirt.
Hey man, half the people went out there couldn't afford underwear.
Maybe
We've just been joined by Larry Wasson, and we're gonna back up a little bit and have Becky introduce Larry.
Larry is a lifelong resident, well, pretty much kind of going to Larry Wasson.
Yes,
Larry, tell us, the name of your mom and dad.
Frank and Katie Wasson.
Wasson. And, when did they first come to Jenks?
Oh gosh, he was born to go into 1910, and I believe there's a plaque somewhere in City Hall. And, they migrated up here in 1912. I
1912.
believe it was 1912. My grandparents are on the field, and they all moved in together, a bunch. You know.
And about where did they live?
Oh God, all over the place.
Well, when they first came, do you remember, like, the general, can you, like, point us in the right?
I'll tell you this much. When I was born, I had an older brother that had passed away of childbirth, and then my next brother older than me. We lived in a tent about a half a mile west of here, right on the banks of the Polecat. And it had dirt floor, I remember that, and but back then, hey, you know, it was a common thing to see people living in tents, you know.
Wow.
You do what you gotta do.
Right.
And, but, now, the Wasson family, they were spread out around Jenks, you know.
Okay.
We were related to half of the town of Jenks. Related.
They still are.
This guy verified that. Well, he married a Jones, didn't you? Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
His wife's grandmother was my grandfather's sister.
Oh my God. Wow.
Jordan, and the Joneses, and the Rollers, and, the list goes on and on. There was 12 kids in that clan, and they just spread out. Some of them was in Bristow, and one of the relatives works for the Jenks school now, and I talked to him here about that.
What brought your family to
But you
Jenks?
didn't dare say anything about anybody in town because they were all related.
Yeah.
What brought them to come to a tent city, or?
You know, I really don't have any idea, probably poverty.
Okay.
You starved to death slower up here than you did.
You starved to death slower here than you didn't go even.
I need to speak louder. I got my hearing aids in, and I'm in the habit of, when I put them in, I turn them up to where they're comfortable for me. Then my voice volume goes down. So I can't hear me holler. I'm used to it. But,
What did you do when you were growing up here in Jenks at first, in elementary and up through high
hey
school?
man, I'm always in trouble here. One time, I'll throw this out there. One time, me and a very good friend of mine that lived just basically right sitting on his property, he lived right across the street.
What was his name?
Gerald Strain.
Oh, Gerald Strain,
Yeah.
yes.
his sister Elsie was a 1935 graduate of Jenks High School.
Was his dad named Ed?
His dad, Ed.
Ed Strain
Ed
was
Strain.
his dad.
We went to the movie, and we were sitting in there watching the show. About that time, the lights come on, shut the cameras down, and we couldn't figure out what was going on, the crowd and everything. And here come Bill Curry, City Mark. He come down through there, and when the lights were going, he was looking at everybody. He said, he grabbed me and Strain and said, "Come on, I'm taking you to jail." And we didn't know what was going on. And he said, a woman here in town, I won't call her name, said you guys was peeping Toms in her house. And peeking into her house, and filed a complaint. And old Peter Irwin run the show building at that time, the Ritz, believe it or not. And he said, no, they've been here since the show started. And he said, oh, if you do this, I'll testify in court or whatever I have to do, but they are here, they didn't do it. But hey, man, if it hadn't been for him, we would have been jailbirds.
Jay, when you were growing up, what did you do in elementary and up through high school?
I didn't play any sport. My dad was a farmer, and he wouldn't let me play sports. He needed me on the farm, and he wouldn't let me play sports. And I didn't come to town during the week. I did come to town on Saturday night, and I'd hope people next over corn and stuff like that for $1 a day, and I get enough money to go to town on Saturday night and go to the movie, give me some popcorn, and we stay for the second picture. And it didn't go up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had to walk 5 miles home. And 3 or 4 was walking.
Did you drive your car in and
Oh, no.
walk home? Right, you walked in and walked home.
On Saturday night, you usually get somebody to pick you up coming in, they do, you walk, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, there was no traffic in Jenks. There wasn't no traffic nowhere.
There wasn't much, back then, there wasn't much traffic in Jenks at 8 o'clock in the morning. What did you do on the, you had a job in high school, didn't you?
Yes, I had several jobs when I was in high school. Then tell me right over there, and then I worked for Paul Harbor Dairy. I went to work at 4 o'clock in the morning, got off at 8 o'clock, go back at 8 o'clock at 4 o'clock that afternoon, get off at 8 o'clock at night. And I hate to tell you this, but I was a stripper. Stripped them cow down.
So what exactly is a stripper?
After they have these automatic milkers, and there were 2 guys that they'd done that, put the milkers on there and then take them off, and then when you get through, then you have to come along and you have to strip the rest of it out of there. And sometimes you get quite a bit, sometimes you don't get much, it all depends on. But that's what I did.
And it was Paul Harbor's Dairy. Where was that at?
It was on Union between 91st and 96th Street.
Paul Harbor was
West side.
he was involved in the city government and civic affairs here in Jenks, and supported the FFA kids. I know my dad bought a cow from him. Then I got to milk for a couple of years when I was 14 years old. Kept me out of some trouble. What did you do after high school? What was your first job?
I went to work at a place called 20th Century. I applied for a job, and they said, "Can you run a drill press?" And I said, "Sure." So they hired me as a drill press operator.
Did you know how to run a drill press?
Well, I run a drill press for a shop there at school, regular drill press. What they wanted me to run was a radio drill press, which was a huge machine, you know, and, but it didn't take me long to learn it, and, I worked there during the summer when I was 17 years old, and when school started in the fall, I asked if I could go night shift, and they said yes. Be glad to put you on night shift. The last 2 years I was in high school, I worked 8 hours every night with school, 6 hours every day.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, I wanna ask JD, that can you share with us a little more about the development of the school system and all that type of thing, and the part you played in it?
Well, I can talk all day about the school system. It's been a fabulous ride for me, being a student, and then, my senior year, Mr. Frank Carroll Superintendent, for one, was needing some help cleaning the schools, so myself and a couple other fellows, we were the custodians of the Jenks High School, and so we got paid $75 a month for sweeping the building, so that's what we did. And then, after, my senior year, I didn't know if I wanted to go to school, what I wanted to do, so John Ryan, the superintendent, offered me a job as the head custodian, and I said, I don't want to be a custodian. He said, Mr. Harrell said, well, you can be the building engineer. When I applied for something someplace else, I put down building engineer. Now the young lady on the other side said, sir, what is a building engineer? And I tried to explain it to her, and I finally said, let's put down custodian. So that was my building engineering experience. We fired the boiler at the school. Back then we had steam heat on all the buildings. And what we was trying to do was get through that particular year, because we were getting ready to move from Main Street to the campus that we're at now. And when the property was 40 acres there, was nothing but sand dunes, same as this land here. All through here, done with sand dunes and piles of low sand. And so the good people of the town wanted to know, what are we doing buying 40 acres for a school? So our people that were fortunate enough to have that vision, it turned out to be the fantastic school system that we have today. And we're all very proud of that. But it was quite a transformation from our present school to the old school. Some of the people in here probably remember the 3 buildings. I have a picture here of the buildings you're welcome to look at. In 1910, we had a this picture of 1910 was the bell tower school that was built for $12,000, if you can believe that. And that bell tower sits in this picture in 1916. This picture shows the west grade school building, and then that particular picture there of the high school, it burnt down, and I don't know anything about that, but after it burnt down, then in the middle building, they built a high school, we had a high school building, which was, we climbed up several stairs to get to it, and it did have a balcony in it at that time. And this picture is 1916, but it also shows the bell tower, which everybody that wants to see it, it's there. I used to think it wasn't. But this picture also shows the old rock and 2-inch pipe, or not rock, it's concrete post and 2-inch pipe fence that went around our school grounds. And this corner post right here is the only post standing in Jenks, America, which is standing today in front of the 180
Kitchen.
it's a kitchen design. A long time ago, Molly Sweetser had a coffee shop just west of that. And you think, well, what's that post doing way over there in town when the school, now then there's a road, but what it was, the road dog leg, it come by that pipe fence and curved and went down and run into the football stadium. And back in the day, we let people in the football stadium, we let them in by the carloads, and people would, the school teachers would, they would collect money out there, they'd stick their head in and count heads and say $2.50, go on in. So the cars would drive in. If you got there early enough, you could drive up to the cable and sit in your car to watch the ball game. That was small town America. Every town around us did the same thing. And
Honk the horns when,
they could do what?
honking the horns when things would go off.
Occasionally, they would go off. And one time the lights went out, so people turned on their lights, so that helped. But and with the stadium, there was not a visitor stadium. And the home side stadium was made out of the WPA rock wall, the rock stones. Had a little area there for the band, which was about probably no more than 50 people. They'd be packed if they had 50. That's all. The band wasn't very big. We used to get laughed off the streets when we'd go to parades. If you was on the side of the street and our Jenks band would come by, they would be snickers and my goodness, what a band. You know, it was very, very discouraging. And Frank Terrell hired Keith Churchill and said, build us a band. And Keith Churchill built a band. And
I have one question about the service center on A Street, the new service educational center.
yes,
Who was the architect of that?
well, Blaine Emil Graber was our architect for years. And to be honest with you, Wayne, after Blaine died, Grable took over. And I don't know if Grable was still running the show when that building was designed. But that particular building, also that picture showed up in the tune of the Hickory Stick years ago when Joyce Nichols, our English teacher, put it together, and that's on the front of it. So the Jenks people and community, I think, always wanted that building to be built again. So that's my understanding when they built the new administration building there where the Baptist church used to be. That was the design that I think was overwhelming design. And I can see why, because it's the same design as back in 1910.
Yeah, it's a beautiful building.
It is the same thing.
Larry, I'm sure that you've been thinking about this event and have a special story in your brain. Let's hear it. I said, I'm sure you've been thinking about this event. What story would you like to tell us today?
Speak up.
I might already pass on that.
Yeah, be careful.
Larry, what did you do in high school for a job?
Everybody saw my phone?
Yeah.
Work was a 4-letter word, brother. You know, so, nothing loafed,
Loaf,
yeah, around the streets, you know. Just,
look for Bill Carey down.
oh, yeah. Bill was my best friend.
What did you do after high school? I hope you got a job.
Yeah, Ben Strange joined the Marine Corps, and he went one direction, and I went overseas. So I was in the military 5 years, a month, and 11 days, and I come back to Jenks, and well, I got a job locally, well uptown. I kind of trimmed my wick and settled down a little bit, you know. But we were constantly, you know, when I was growing up, man, this was a boring place. There was nothing for us to do. Sat on the sidewalk up in front of William George's store where the concrete's a little higher than the rest of the sidewalks. Sat there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the city council, they said, well, we can't do that no more, and they put a curfew up, and we had to hang out somewhere else.
Where'd you hang out?
There was nothing, you know, this place was like anything, you know, and,
Where did you hang out after they ran you off of the corner?
well, wherever you could, you know. And we didn't have no cars, we couldn't leave town.
Was the tree in the middle of Main Street still back then?
No.
No, they
Not
think.
to my memory. I know where it was, but it, you know, in that little old stone thing that's about, 50 feet east of the railroad track on Main Street, little pyramid shaped thing with an iron pipe coming out.
Yes.
That was a street light.
I was wondering, were there street lights and stop signs on Main Street?
That was a natural gas light. And old lady owned a boarding house that sat back south of that light, and that's where you turned in her walkway to go into the deal.
Was that a street light or was it a stop light?
It was just a light, a directional light. Turn here if you want to go to the boarding house.
Okay.
It notified you where the walkway was.
That's where they hang the banners across Main Street for Herb Fest. There's a triangular thing. That was a gas lamp.
Yeah.
That, at the McLean House, they have one of the original gas lamps in Jenks. Still there, so.
Very good.
Go ahead.
But you know, where that store is now, I don't know what it was. Well, excuse me. There was a grocery store in there. Creekmore had a grocery store in there. Okay, before that was a grocery store. I've got a picture about the size of those that you've been passing around. Jenks had a Ford dealership.
Run by OK Harley.
And, yeah, and in that, I got a picture of my first wife, rest her soul. Her dad was a mechanic, and the mechanics were standing there. And Ben Clark was one of the mechanics, and Pinky Fisher, and 2 or 3 of those guys.
Jenks, Glenn Mayo's grandfather was a mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
He was a Jenks?
yeah.
A Jenks was a mechanic.
Okay, yeah, Shorty Jenner.
Yes, that's my grandpa.
You related to Shorty
I
Jenner?
am. We have stories, right?
That's a question. Who all related to each other in the room today?
Let me insert this real quick for your benefit primarily. When I turned 21, I was so proud of myself I could drink beer, you know, with the public. Shorty used to come in the bar, and we'd sit down and have a beer and talk and everything. And he was an aircraft mechanic during World War I, and he actually worked on Eddie Rickenbacker's airplane.
I did not know that.
Whoa.
And nobody, and he told me that, and I believed him because he knew just too much about it. And I was a history buff anyway, and I didn't check him out. I accepted that, but think of that for a minute. We had a Jenks guy,
Wow.
World War I veteran, working on Rickenbacker's airplane. Ace, World War I ace.
It's pretty cool.
And me and him sit there and drink beer, you know, to talk about it.
The Ford garage he's talking about is now Red's Mercantile. just as you go over the railroad track on the south side. That was a concrete garage back in the day. And a gentleman came here by the name of O.K. Harley, who invented the Harley trotline snap, and there's a whole story there I won't go into. We have some Harley trotline snaps in the museum. I wanted to ask Jay about, was it your Uncle Charlie?
Yes.
What, you told me a story about him and a famous lady by the name of Cleo. Wait a minute. How many people in the audience know Cleo, who I'm talking about? Oh my goodness.
Whoa!
Go ahead, Charlie.
Uncle John,
Oh, your Uncle John.
he rented a piece of property from Cleo West. And she was the queen of the bootleggers, and she was a super nice person. She adopted some boys, and me and my dad was over there, and we helped her build fence, and she was really a nice person. We helped her build fence, and my cousin Wayne, she stored her whiskey in my uncle's barn. And my cousin Wayne, he figured out how to get in the loft of that barn, and he stole a case of whiskey. He took it out there in the woods and hid it behind them trees, you know. So I had a car, and I'd go over on Saturday night, and I'd pick him up, and we'd drive, and he'd say, "Stop right here," and I'd stop, and he'd run off out there in the woods and come back with a pint of whiskey.
How did Cleo lived up by the Turnpike Gate, as I understand it, and she was queen of the bootleggers. If you're interested, there's a book about her, and quite a famous lady. What happened to her?
She told us a story one time. She took a truck to Missouri and get a load of whiskey, and she come out of Missouri. She come to back roads, and they radioed ahead and told her that she was coming. So they looked in the back roads for her. And she just went over, come down 66 Highway, right down through 11th Street, right down Tulsa, and they never even knew where she was at with a full load of whiskey. But she later, a guy from Glenpool, Lester Pugh, he wanted to meet her up there at Union Square, at 51st and Union, and they met her up there, and they shot her in the head and took her out there to South Union down there, crossing Paget, up to the golf course, and they threw her in a well back there after they killed her. And
Wow.
Lester Pugh was a criminal from Glenpool, and he raised his, I think his grandmother raised him. And me and a guy I worked with, we was working one night, and one day, and he said, "Let's go to a basketball game in Glenpool." So we went to the basketball game in Glenpool, me and Kenneth Glass, and after the ball game was over with, we was milling around there, and here come Lester Pugh. I didn't know who Lester Pugh was, but Kenneth Glass graduated from Glenpool, and he knew. So he asked Lester Pugh, he said, "What have you been up to?" He said, "I killed an old boy named Dylan, threw him in a well up there by Welch." And I didn't tell nobody, Kenneth Glass didn't tell nobody, but he told everybody. Probably 10, 15 years later, I read in the paper where nobody knew who killed Dylan and threw him in a well.
Lester Pugh was part of the Dixie Mafia, another story of the area. Becky?
So now we're going to stop and take questions from the audience. If anyone has a question for the entire group or for one individual, anyone? Okay, please stand up and identify yourself.
I'm sorry?
Stand up and identify yourself.
Okay. My name's Marilyn Ishmael Dowler, and I'm the last one of the 5 kids. My siblings are gone. But I have a question for Mr. Creekmore. You said you lived on your land between 91st and 101st?
71st and 81st on 33rd West Avenue.
I thought you said out on Memorial at one.
That's where I was born at.
I'm sorry?
That's where I was born.
Okay. Was that your family's Indian allotment?
Pardon me?
Were you Indian?
Oh, no,
No?
no, Creekmore, Indian name, but we're English.
Okay. And Mr. Newman, right?
Newland.
Newland, I'm sorry. I saw a picture the other day on Facebook, and I had never seen it before. Me being younger Jenks native, but you were in the picture. And the two coaches, it just so happened, one of them was my oldest brother,
Marshall.
Marshall. Yes. And I didn't know that in 1956 that Jenks won the football championship.
No, I hate to,
You're
I
gonna
hate
bust
to,
my
I hate
boat.
to break the In 1956, our senior year, we did not do very well. That was Marshall's first year as head coach. But in 1954-55, Marshall was the assistant coach to Frank Harrell, and we went undefeated, 10-0, which at that time, I don't think there'd been another team from Jenks go 10-0. We had teams go undefeated, but we won all of our non-conference games as well. And you might know that was the only year that we did not have a state playoff. Therefore, we're in the books. If you look at the books, we're in there with Pawnee Black Bears. They were 13B, we were 14B, and we would have played in the first game of the playoffs, and it's still a big debate who would have won that game.
Obviously, Jenks would have won that.
I don't know, we just had 17 ball players, and that was counting the injured. We scrimmaged the left side against the right side. We didn't even have two teams. That's true.
And it's my honor, I don't know if any of y'all know him, but this is Marshall's middle child, right here.
Hold up your hand,
Kevin,
Kevin.
stand up there, Kevin.
Yo, Kevin, stand up.
He is standing up.
I might add, that youngster and his brother, that year that we had the good team, he was a little fella, and we had a bonfire at the west side of the stadium there, out on the sandy ground. And I think his older brother was the one that threw the artificial dummy of the team that we were gonna play on.
Probably
But they were just
You're the young one in the room, Kevin.
Yes, well.
Someone else have a question? Yes, Greg,
Mr.
stand up,
Lee.
Mr. Bowman.
Oh. Let's
Thank you.
stand up. Could you explain or summarize your teaching career?
I'd be glad to, Greg. By the way, Greg, when we were in Hawaii, you know, when you go someplace, you don't ever think you're gonna see anybody. There we was on Fisherman's Wharf, getting ready to get in this glass bottom boat, and back in the back of the boat, hello, Mr. Newland. That was Greg and his wife. I started teaching in 1968. The industrial arts teacher retired that year early. He told Mr. Harrell, he said, I can't stand those boys another year. If I don't retire, I'm gonna kill one. They were rough kids. I won't deny that. And so in 1968, Mr. Harrell called me and said, Jay, I know you got a degree in industrial arts. Would you be interested in teaching high school woodshop? And I was working in a machine shop in Oklahoma City at Camray, making oil, gas, valves, and controls. And it just so happened that I was getting ready to join Highway Patrol, and I said, well, yeah, so I left a couple $1,000s on the table and come to Jenks as the high school shop teacher, who was my shop teacher, which I adored. And so I wanted to continue like he taught.
And who was that?
John Swofford. To my knowledge, we had 4 shop teachers in the history of Jenks School. Vester Branscombe, you remember Branscombe Hardware? Vester taught manual training. He was the first shop teacher we had in Jenks as manual training. And his wife, Esther, was a home economics teacher. And then John Swofford come in, and then when John Swofford retired in '68, I took over. Then after me, in '80 was David Patterson. And then they discontinued it a few years later along with home ec and other things. But I thoroughly enjoyed teaching woodshop. We had 6 classes. I didn't have a break or anything like that. Matter of fact, when the Northeastern people come in to evaluate the school, they got all over the school because I was the only one in the school system that didn't get a conference out of it, but I didn't mind that. But, so anyway, I did get a conference hour out of it. But we had, if you can imagine, 30 freshman kids that never had made a birdhouse or nothing. And they're all just as eager as can be to get started, to do something. And I'd ask them, I said, why did you take this class? And the first thing they would, every one of them would say, I want to build something. So I thought, oh boy. So a lot of traditional classes in schools, you have a lot of book work. Well, if you're in book work, you don't get hands-on tools and doing things. So Mr. Swofford he didn't leave a lot of book work either. And so we didn't have a lot of book work, and we let the kids get to work. We started out very simple breadboard. Everybody laughs about it. We have kids that are 70 years old and still have their breadboard. And then we made a little freshman, what I call a 9th grade little table, had 21 different working parts on it. Fabulous project, nice little project. And I hate to say it, we had youngsters that passed away in school, and the parents would come and get those tables. But anyway, we went from hand tools to power tools, and I can safely say that the only youngster that ever got hurt, we were getting ready to pass to another class, and he was cleaning his fingernails with his pocket knife, and he cut his finger with his pocket knife, and he bled. And that's the only time we ever had anybody get hurt. Wonderful, I enjoyed it tremendously.
Yes, stand up and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Ann Hutt, and I was Jenks librarian for 25 years.
Oh my gosh! Oh, Ann!
It's so nice to be here, but I wanted to say that I was so sorry when they took Mr. Newland out and Mrs. Bunyard retired. I think that they needed those basics. This last Christmas, and I'm 90-something, I saw my little breadboard, got it out, put it on. It was the easiest things I think a 5-year-old could have made it, and my son was still proud of it. So it did some really good stuff.
Okay, let's try and do this without getting upset.
What's your name?
I'm Jennifer. Coon is my name. I am Red Herb and Betty Creekmore's granddaughter.
Oh.
Yay.
JD, that rocker my dad made in your class. Do you remember it? My dad was Ron Herb. Ronnie Herb.
Absolutely.
And you know, he made that rocker because if you guys knew my dad had polio. He had 2 different lengths of legs, 2 different size and feet. He had a hard time walking, he had a hard life. My dad's been gone for 4 years now. We lost Grandma 3 years ago. We still have the rocker. We still have the side table he made.
Aw.
There's a lot of things that we have that woodwork that he did in your class. Everything he learned in your class woodworking, he turned around and passed on to me and my brother. So we know how to make a porch, we know how to make, anything like that. My husband and I get in arguments all the time, and I'm like, look, you don't quit, I'm calling J.D. Newland. Which my husband now works for the city of Jenks. My papa died in 95. In 2005, when my grandma got sick, we moved up here, and Papa went to work, or my husband went to work, and a lot of people would say, well, we wished you would have known Red Earth. When he disclosed whose granddaughter he married, that caused an uproar. They had no idea. But I wanted you to know, JD, a lot of things that you taught my dad got passed on.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
We're gonna do something different. We just have a few minutes left, and we're gonna try to be pretty close to this, although I don't know about you guys, but I could go on for hours listening to these stories.
Me too.
But there are so many people here in the room that we're gonna go quickly, so just bear with me, but there's people that you probably don't know that I didn't recognize. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. It's been a while. It's been a
That
while.
have families here forever. Looky there. So I'm just gonna go here quickly, and if you would just stand up and say your family name, that if you have a family name that went here forever.
And
we'll
when
start here.
they came here?
We'll
What
just
year?
start. Sybil Brazil Roberts. You all have to tell me because I'll forget. Go ahead.
I came here in '46. I was in the first grade.
And she graduated here from Jenks along with a bunch of other
And all my boys.
And my husband. You want to stand?
Okay, my maiden name was Paula.
Paula.
And I went to Jenks all my life.
All right.
I mean, from the first through and graduated in '56. And I graduated with JD. I think he and I talk about it at the church all the time. First we know we was in every grade together, talking at the same time, probably.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanne is Owen Yarborough Newland.
When did your family come here?
1954,
How'd you beat JD?
in high school.
Okay. I'm Sue Featherston. My husband went all through school here.
So glad you're here.
And I came here in 1956.
Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Oh, you want me to? Yeah. My wife and I came here in 1974, and I taught until, remind me when I left. When?
201.
201, I left, I taught with one of the greatest people I've ever known, J.D. Newland, for a while. And I can't say enough about him and his wife. My mother would call up at school and she would answer and help my mom out.
My son, I guess you could say I was delivered here. In Tulsa, 1960, I graduated in 1978, and I still have 2 pieces of furniture that I made in JD's lap.
I'm just married to him.
Just married. Who's coming?
Oh, God.
Greg Bowman, came here in '64. I was born in '56, or hatched. That's it. I actually confess to knowing these young people.
Randy Hayes, you know, my dad is Troy Hayes.
Troy Hayes.
And I've been around Jenks for years with the family, so.
Do you know when the Hayes family came here?
You know, Wayne, I really don't know what year.
Okay.
I was born in '56, here, and lived across from that, young guy sitting on the second row there, and up till I was 8 years old, but, yeah.
Thank you.
Kevin Ishmael, and I was born in '55, so Dad wasn't at football practice all the time, JD. but yeah, you carried on such a everybody in school knew who you were and what you affected. A lot of folks, Greg and I still do a lot of woodworking. I too wanted to be poor, so I got into education as an industrial arts teacher for about 15 years. And decided I wanted to do something different, so I made some money after that. But we still have our shops, and every day we're out in the shops. We've moved up to some CNC and laser engraving. We've kind of gone in a different direction, but we have pretty big shops, and it's all the time to use. So thank you.
I've got 10 digits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is David Pence. My dad was a barber. Johnny Pence. And he was born here in Jenks. I can't remember when he was born here, but he's been here all his life.
When did you graduate?
When did you graduate? 66 with Wayne Parker.
Yeah, it was the best class ever, Jenks.
Just the wife and daughter.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, here come the Van Arsdales back here.
All right, great.
Yeah. Kelly Jr., my dad, Kelly Sr., my mom, Becky, Van Arsdale. We got here in '60, and I matriculated into Mrs. Nussbaum's kindergarten at the Methodist Church there. I still have my little graduation hat that we remember, and I had to work hard. And so many.
Donate that to the museum when we get a building.
Yeah, Mrs. And I had one of my report cards from Mrs. Nussbaum that she wrote out by hand. And Mr. Newell, I still have that cedar chest I built my senior year, and it's as good as ever. And most of my fingers work.
Very good.
I'm Kelly's sister, Anita.
Anita Van Arsdale,
I was born in 1955. I'll turn 70 in July.
70 in July, 1955, Jenks graduate.
Yeah, we're there.
I'm Jeff Graham, the worst woodshop student. JD and Joanne are my aunt and uncle. My mother's baby brother, and Lynn is my cousin from another side. When did our family come to Jenks? When did Granny and Grandpa come in that?
Well, the Grahams came, I don't know, late 1800s.
Yeah.
And then the Genesis were like one of the first 12 families to come to Jenks. So I've got it for both sides.
Yeah, we're here from both
early
sides.
history.
I've been a long time. I think I know both of you. Anyway, I went to Miss Nussbaum in kindergarten because it was not school sponsored kindergarten back in the day.
Do you remember Dane? Yeah. Do you remember Dane Cash?
We haven't paid for that.
Yeah.
Good to see y'all.
We have Linda Parker, and my family came under way 1916.
Oh, yeah.
And then, thanks to Mrs. Emma Bunyard, I became a home economics teacher for 42 years.
Marsha Warren Chastain, and my family came to Jenks when I was 4 years old, so 78 years old.
Grady Warren.
Yeah.
Grady
and Madeline. We went to church with
everybody.
Those two up there. There's 2 or 3 more up there. But anyway, I've been here, seems like forever.
Brad. This is Larry's son, Brad Wasson. Jenks graduate.
He's come to silent type, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Okay.
1981.
Lynn Gentis Mayo, not related to the Mayos of Jenks. It was another crew somewhere else. But anyway, the Gentis family, my grandpa, who Larry's already mentioned about, my grandpa Gentis, but he was a great mechanic. He was also a mayor at one time of Jenks. And my dad, Gerald K. Gentis, he inherited that ability to be an excellent mechanic that was here in Jenks at one time. But anyway, and my grandmother, Gentis, was a teacher in one of those buildings way back when. So my sister, Gail, who graduated in '64, and I graduated in '67, we both became teachers. My mother was Sue Jenks, who at one time the Jenks administration building was named after her, Sue Jenks, before they tore it down. That's another story.
Another story, another day.
Yeah, but anyway, I have a lot of great, and then the McLean house is my great aunt and uncle. He was the first, he was one of the first doctors to come to Jenks, the McLeans. So I've got a lot of connections to this community.
Yes, okay. Mr. Alton.
My name's Sam Alton. I graduated in 1973. My dad's family moved here in 1915 in a covered wagon, and Dad and Mom ran a business here at Jenks for 50 years. And
Sam, I want to talk to you sometime about the community garden until they had started.
That's my understanding. Dad was in charge of the community garden during the Depression. I'm told it was out here where the South Lakes golf course is now. And people come out there and provide work, and they get vegetables in return. That was the theory. That was the theory behind that. So,
Quick little deal about that. In the 30s, his dad, they did the garden, then they went down to the school and got the home ec department to help them, and the county donated jars to can the vegetables, and this went to the school kids to help poor people. They canned over a 2-year period 79,000 cans or jars of food and gave it away.
and at that
That's
cannery,
amazing to me.
at the cannery, I understand that's where Mom met Dad. The rest is history.
That's a great story for Warner Public.
So Sam, where'd you work during high school?
On the plantation.
Oh, yeah.
Pearl.
I'm Don Holden, and I graduated in 1957, a year after JD. Okay, so I remember Mr. Swafford really well, okay, but I've been gone for basically 60 years, okay, so I just came back when I retired from living in Hawaii. So I lived in California and Hawaii most of my life after getting out of school here. And then I had a brother and a sister that went to school here, Charles, that I know a lot of people here remember my brother Charles. And then I have a sister named Shirley, and so she lives down, I don't know if she calls it Sapulpa or Keeper, but it's about 4 miles or so kind of south of Sapulpa. So I still see her. Charles is not around anymore. And I remember a lot of names, okay, here. Okay, and then in the shop that JD came back here to run with after Mr. Swafford retired. When I went through this shop, I was counting a while ago, I made 6 pieces of furniture that my mother and dad used in their house until they passed away. Wow. End tables, coffee tables, jewelry chest.
Lampstands.
Shoot, I didn't count that one. But there was a lampstand, okay, it's made out of walnut, and gun racks, towel racks. It's good. When I go here, I come back here on vacation, which I try to get back. Every year, 2 years, I would come back and I would kind of catch up with some people because I stayed in touch with some of the people that really stayed in touch with what was going on. Okay, and so I tried to stay up with what was going on. But yeah, it's been a long time. Sounds like we're Larry, when were you? What year did you graduate?
What year did you graduate?
55.
Okay, I was trying to remember, but I couldn't.
Thank
Anyway.
you. I think you look nice. I'm Shirley Hollingsworth Walters, and my family came to Jenks in 1946. I was in the 2nd grade, graduated from high school, and our family property was sold not too many years ago, and that's where the big blue building is going up by Riverwalks now. That's where my family settled.
Really?
Linda Kalmas.
Linda Ayers Kelmus. My parents had a small farm up by Paul Harbor's place. I think they came maybe mid-30s. My sisters and I all went to Jenks. I went to Main Street, Miss McDonald, Miss George, etc. And then Helen Dukert and I started where McDonald's is, the health department. So I was at the health department forever. Then went to Glenpool School Nurse and of course raised our kids here. We love Jenks.
I just belong to her. I'm Brian Sherman. My family came to Jenks in October 2024.
Brian helps us with our newsletter. He's also on our committee.
We're all transparent.
All transparent. Oh, no. The reason I asked you to stand again is because your family had one of the original Indian land allotments.
Yes, I came to the first one, and Wayne introduced me as one of the first settlers in Jenks, because my dad and his oldest sister were the first ones in the Jenks area that had the 160 acres land allotment through the Creek Nation. Daddy's was over by Drumright, and he sold it for $2,500. So wish we could buy that now. But again, I'm Marilyn Ishmael Dowler. I am the youngest of 5 siblings: Marshall, Lane, Linda, Deanna, and me. All 5 of us graduated from the high school, Jenks High School.
Could you?
Me in 1965 with 65 graduates.
You have a relative that lives in Florida that wrote a book.
Yes,
What's
her name is Debbie Walters. The book is titled Through the Eyes of Grace. You can buy it on Amazon if you'd like to read it. It's about her, it's about the Ishmael family.
Coming to Jenks.
Because I always get this mixed up. Benjamin Ishmael was my great-grandfather. He married an Oswald. And Oswald married, and that Oswald married an Ishmael. So we're double cousins. Explain that to me, and it goes right over the top of my head.
It's a neat book about Grace. That did they come from over by Pawnee or somewhere?
I believe so.
Over in western Oklahoma
Over by
to
Pawnee
Jenks,
City.
and it's a tragic story. She was raped, and her family sent her over here to live, and she survived. And it's a terrific little book.
Yeah. But I was born and raised in Jenks, Oklahoma, and graduated from Jenks High School in 1965.
Thank you.
I'm Carla Newman Tabor.
Oh my God.
Hi,
Carla.
I think the Newmans came in around 48. I was born in 51. And the Tabors came a lot sooner than that because, and I'm not sure when, I just know that Ulysses Grant Tabor played the violin at the theater when there was no sound. And when my grandchildren graduate from Jenks, we will have 6 generations.
Great.
Man,
Yes.
that's awesome.
I'm Jan McLeod Pregler, and I graduated in 1968. Our family came to Jenks in the late teens. My great-grandmother had a boarding house about the location of the Coney Islander now, and she boarded the oil field workers from Glenpool, and and fed and meals and things like that. My mom and dad graduated from Jenks. My husband and I graduated from Jenks. Our kids graduated from Jenks, and our granddaughter has graduated from Jenks, and our grandson soon will. I had the pleasure of working for JD in the maintenance department, and I've known JJ, that's what I call him, Jay Creekmore, since I was about 3 years old, because his mother-in-law babysat with me and my sisters. So we go way back. And we went to the river together. And Marilyn's mother taught me how to swim in the Elmo's River.
Well, I don't have a massive history in Jenks like all you other people, but I moved here in '68. My great-grandparents homesteaded in Mangum in '89.
Wow.
And we have gradually worked our way to Oklahoma City and up the Turnpike. I came to Jenks in 1968. None of my kids graduated from Jenks, but they all went to Jenks, all 4 of them. And I got transferred to Houston. And so they finished and still live in the Houston area, but they finished school down there. And so anyway, I've owned 5 houses, I think, in Jenks. So I've been here a while.
Thank you, Gary.
How about y'all? Transplant? Okay, how many of you have Miss George?
Yeah, that's what I did. I can
My dad was Bolton, and the Bolton family really wasn't the first of my group that came here. The Boltons were here early, but the other side, the Stubblefields, were the one. Stubblefield was my grandmother's side, so she was listed in the newspaper as, or my great grandmother listed as the 4th white woman in the newspaper. And Jenks. I don't know why that was out there, y'all Indians. But it was the Stubblefields, and that was like 1903. Yes.
When I came to Jenks, 2 people I feared the most were Mrs. Hinks and Mrs. George.
Mrs. Hinks and Mrs. George. Tad, will you introduce Tad?
Oh, our president of our jam, Ted Bogan. He's an attorney. Ted is instrumental in setting up our corporation and the 501c. Ted graduated from Jenks. Ted, tell us a little bit about your history.
So I graduated from Jenks in 1998. My brother graduated from Jenks in 1997, and my sister graduated from Jenks in 1987. So we were raised and live in Tulsa, but we all went to Jenks, and my nephews went to Jenks and things like that. So yeah.
Tiffany was in DECA with me.
Yes, yeah. So when I got the call and they asked if I could help out, I was excited to do so and more than happy to do so, and that kind of turned into a bigger role and more responsibility. But,
always does.
Yeah, right. But happy to help, and I'm excited to help preserve the history of your families in this town.
Thank you all for coming in. Yes?
Have you taken a toll or a poll, not a poll, of generations that have graduated?
It's a good idea.
Got the most generations? I heard 6 somewhere. We have 5.
Well, not yet 6.
Of graduating students?
Yeah. Family that's graduated, yeah.
So how many of you have 6 generations of Jenks graduates? 5? Who's got 5?
Wow.
Guys, this has really been so fun. We've gone way over our allotted time frame, and
yeah.
Quick question. I saw the picture on Facebook of the Lions Club building. Is that where the museum is going to be?
No, we don't. We only have $3,000. It's going to take $1 to $2 million to get a building unless we get it donated. We're trying to work with the city to help us. There's a lot of ideas. To run the museum, it's going to cost us probably $125,000 to $150,000 a year for an executive director and a helper and all the stuff to go with it. This year, we're going to start raising money. So go and donate. Donate often, donate deep.
And we are accepting, we've got some donation forms. If you've got something that, you know, in your family, we already had Pauline Duper and some other people donate things. She gave us her dad's, and his name escapes me, Morris, his 1921 yearbook, and we've got it protected. It's not here, which, by the way, there's things here for you all to look at if you want to look. Now that you all know one another, you can visit further and look around and do all that. And
if you have ideas for this kind of a talk, if you like, do you like these kind of things we're doing?
Absolutely.
Thank you. We want to have more. We're going to have John Beaver with the Creek Nation give us a talk. Sherry Stewart, our treasurer's daughter, is going to give a talk on conservation of your family histories.
John Green, the Green family, John is the minister now at Rainy Grove Baptist Church in North Tulsa, and they've developed a book, 100 Years of Rainy Grove, and I think in May, John will be our speaker on Rainy Grove.
Go ahead, Don.
Is John Green, is he the Green family that lived down south of Jenks?
Richard was his brother.
Where does he live now? Does he live close?
John lives in North Tulsa. Richard's all have passed away except for John, who is my age. He graduated in the class of 67. And one sister, do y'all remember, was there anybody besides it?
They have two sisters.
Yes, and one of them, Jacqueline, passed away, and the other sister's still living, but most of those children have passed.
If you have ideas for us, send us information, what you want to see in these kind of things. Information at Jenks Museum. Information at JenksAmericaMuseum.org is the email. We have a brochure to take with the information. Greg?
Well, if these three would agree doing it again.
Oh, yeah. They have so many more stories.
We need more, yeah.
let's give them a big hand.
It's all the information that came from the first one that we had, and now this one, it is being kept, correct?
We're live streaming this on Facebook. We're trying to figure out how to get it off of Facebook. I looked at that and I had some problems, but we're going to do that.
Deanna, my sister next to me, she remembered everything. And of course, she died last year. And no, I don't know that anybody wrote it down.
If anybody here would like to be interviewed and get a hold of Annette, she's done several interviews, and we want to put these interviews as oral history into the museum. Tad, would you like to say anything else? Putting you on the spot, I know.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. We talked about the donations. Now we are finally official with the IRS, so your donations are tax deductible. And that includes in-kind donations, of course. A lot of things are very valuable to us, but maybe don't have the same monetary value, so there may not be as much value there. But if there is monetary value to something that you donate, that's also deductible. And so, obviously we don't want anyone to break the bank doing it, but if you can, we would greatly appreciate it. And we will have that building. It's just going to take us a little while.
I just had one quick thing to say. I wanted to thank all of you guys. I started that Facebook page back in 2021, and it has just shot through the ceiling. And thank you guys for joining that, inviting your friends and all that, because we're up to almost 5,000 people now. So Jenks was not even that big back in those days. So anyway, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.